Welcome to Western Mass News Digital Edition. I'm Chris Pisano.
And I'm Amanda Martin Ryan. We start with breaking news. Charlie Kirk, the CEO and co-founder of the conservative youth organization Turning Point USA, has been shot. It happened at an event at a Utah college, according to Turning Point. The organization says they are confirming that he was shot and, quote, "We are praying for Charlie." Videos posted to social media show Kirk speaking into a handheld microphone while sitting under a tent when a shot rang out. President Trump has posted to Truth Social saying, "We must all pray for Charlie Kirk, who has been shot. A great guy from top to bottom. God bless him."
New developments today as a man was arraigned in court for ripping down several pride flags back in June. 8 pride flags were taken down from and then set on fire outside Thorns Market in Northampton. Now one of the suspects has been identified as 22-year-old David Sivakanoki of Westfield. He was charged with vandalism and released today on bail. He was ordered to stay out of the Northampton area and is expected to be back in court on November 4th. Police are also still attempting to find one other suspect associated with the crime.
In Holyoke, an 18-year-old is facing drug charges after being found with 80 vials of suspected cocaine. Just before 5 Saturday morning, an officer saw 18-year-old Javion Rosa on South Bridge Street in a car connected to a drug bust from last week when crack cocaine, heroin, and fentanyl were found. Saturday night, officers searched Rosa, finding the suspected cocaine and more than $400 in cash.
New developments on a possible new consolidated middle school in Longmeadow. Town residents voted last night on whether or not to build the new building, combining 2 middle schools into one. It was a special town meeting, the first of a 2-vote series involved in funding the proposed project. Nearly 2,000 people showed up for the meeting. If approved, the project, worth nearly $152 million, would replace and combine both Glenbrook and Williams middle schools into one facility where Williams currently sits. And the outcome was lopsided. Out of about 1,700 people who voted, more than 1,300 of them voted yes.
The results are in for last night's Springfield City Council preliminary elections. Now for the Ward 4 spot, incumbent Mallow Brown and Willie Naylor received the most votes, and incumbent Victor Davila and Mary Johnson will compete for the Ward 6 City Council spot. And for District 3 seat, for the school committee representing Ward 6 and 7, residents will be choosing between incumbent Christopher Collins and Rosa Valentin. A general election to fill these vacant seats will be held in November.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. On your Wednesday afternoon, turning out to be a delightful day. Certainly more clouds than yesterday, but enough sunshine to brighten things up after a gray start this morning, and a few clouds mixing in now, but really fine stuff again today. 74 degrees as you're reading. It's going to be a delightful late afternoon and evening. We will see a clearing sky tonight and be chilly again with temps falling into the 40s. Well, we've hung on to clouds longer. Those of us out in eastern Mass, Worcester, Boston, the Cape and the Islands has been overcast in the 60s, but we've seen enough sun, so temperatures have been bounced up just a little bit. You can see the clouds have been flirting with our skies all day long, and any rainfall is offshore. The Cape picking up just a few showers. This area of low pressure is going to be moving away from the eastern seaboard, which means we have just a beautiful day on tap for tomorrow. So a nice evening. We'll cool quickly, and then later on tonight we'll be back down into the 40s with a clear sky. And so a cool, chilly start tomorrow, but temperatures come up fast. We'll go from the 40s into the upper 70s, maybe even flirting with 80 degrees by tomorrow afternoon. Just a couple of decorative clouds. We'll stay with low levels of humidity as well. Beautiful day on tap for tomorrow, and Friday for the opener of the Big E looks great as well. Mainly clear or decreasing clouds, becoming mainly clear. Chilly with temperatures down into the 40s, and then tomorrow upper 70s to near 80 degrees in a few towns. Low to mid 70s across the hill towns and higher elevated areas. For the opener of the Big E, Military Appreciation Day, mostly sunny, comfortable, cool start, comfortable afternoon, cool evening. If you're heading over to the fairgrounds on Friday, just bring that light jacket. It'll start to get a little muggy as we head into Sunday. It looks now as though our shower and maybe even thunderstorm chances go up on Sunday as well. So right now, Friday looks beautiful. Saturday, still nice. We can't rule out a spot shower, mid 70s, tiny bit of mugginess. And then by the time we get to your Sunday, we're seeing a disturbance perhaps dropping down from northern New England, and that could bring us some showers, downpours, maybe a thunderstorm in the afternoon. Some showers might linger into Monday before we dry it off for later Monday and on into the beginning of next week. All right, that's your forecast. We'll see you at 4 o'clock. Amanda and Chris, over to you.
All right, Dan, thank you. There's a new flavor for the legendary candy that melts in your mouth, not in your hand.
Honey roasted peanut M&Ms have arrived.
According to the company, the M&Ms combine the, quote, perfect blend of crunch with a touch of honey sweetness. The new flavor will be a permanent member of the M&Ms lineup.
Now, in addition to the classic plain and peanut M&Ms, other flavors include pretzel, peanut butter and jelly, cookies and cream, caramel, and chocolate pumpkin pie. Hadn't heard of that one.
I've recently tried the peanut butter and jelly. It's so weird how much it tastes like a peanut butter and jelly. It's weird.
I honestly like the regular old M&Ms. I
Right.
guess I'm old-fashioned.
I like the mini ones. No special flavors. All right, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for watching today's Western Mass News Digital Edition.
Also, be sure to tune into Western Mass News at 4, ABC 40. That is coming up soon. Have a great day.